Peace be with you. I'm Pastor Stephen Gjerde at Zion Lutheran Church, and this is Picture Time, a time during the week when we stop to look at a beautiful piece of art that helps us learn the Sunday school lesson from the prior Sunday. So this past Sunday, children at Sunday school learned about Moses as a young man. When Moses was saved from being killed as a little baby, he was taken into the house of the ruler of Egypt, a man named Pharaoh. He was raised to be a young man, and as a young man, he never forgot that he was Jewish, that he belonged to God's people. He was part of Israel, and when he got old enough, that resulted in him running away from his home in Egypt. He got into some trouble there because of him understanding himself to be part of Israel. He thought he should live in a certain way. It was not the way that he would have lived had he stayed in Egypt, and so he ran away. That's the long story short. And then when he ran away, he went out into the desert and he did something else. And here we have a picture of him doing it. This is a picture of Moses defending, that is, protecting the daughters of a man named Jethro. And so if you look at this picture, you'll see a picture there of Moses right here, and some women here, and some men running away here, and Moses is holding this staff, this shepherd's staff. You look closely at it, you can see it's kind of crooked. That is, there's a curve at the top. And those type of staves were used to protect or guide sheep back at that time. And still today in some cultures we can find people doing that. And so Moses is using one of those to protect these women who had come to the well to get water. And whenever those women came to the well, these men would bother them. These men would trouble them and make it dangerous for those women. And now Moses, who has run into the desert, is protecting the women by attacking these men and making them run away. And he's using a shepherd's staff, a shepherd's crook, this staff used to protect sheep, in order to do it. It's a very powerful, beautiful painting by a man named Roger Eugene, painted in 1837. I assume he's French. And he was painted in 1837. And it gives us a beautiful picture. I like it for a couple different reasons that I want to share with you. First, it really does look like the desert, doesn't it? We have a few palm trees here and then lots of sand all around them. Whether or not the desert really looked that way, it's what we think of when we think of the desert. Also, we can see that these are men and women who really belong to that part of the world where they live because they're darker skinned, they have dark hair. And so there's a reality to it. It looks like we would imagine it looking. And what's very interesting too is you look at Moses, okay? I mean, he's not wearing the armor of a knight, okay? He doesn't have any special weapons. He's just dressed like any other man, and he has a tool in his hand that isn't even supposed to be used to do what he's doing, to protect people, but he's using what he has at the moment to protect these women. And what I like about that is it reminds us that Moses is not, what do I want to say? Moses is not a superhero. He does not have special powers. He doesn't have a special cape or a special helmet or gloves that fire laser beams or something. Moses is just an ordinary man, and he's doing the right thing. Moses is defending people who are weak. Moses, as a man, is standing up for, in this case, some women who are being troubled by these men, and he's protecting them. And that ultimately is who Moses would become, not just for these women, but for the whole people of God. God would use Moses, just a regular man, to save the whole people of God, the people of Israel, and bring them out of Egypt and protect them like a shepherd protecting sheep. And so this painting, I think, really gives us a sense of how normal and like one of us Moses is. Moses is an everyday man whom God uses to do extraordinary things. And that's the God, the same God who knows you by name and who has done some extraordinary things for you through Jesus Christ, a man who looked like any other man, a man who could die like any other man and who did die on the cross, a man who felt hunger and pain and who cried just like you and I can feel hunger and pain and can sometimes cry. But through that man, Jesus, God saved the whole world. Because Jesus is not only a man, he is also God. Through him, God has saved the whole world, and he teaches us that God, now that he has called you by name, now that you have become part of his people, he will do extraordinary things through you also. Even when we are weak, we are strong in Jesus Christ, because he is the God who did this for these women through an ordinary man named Moses, protecting them from these bad guys over here. And that is how Roger Eugene helps us understand the story of Moses protecting and defending the daughters of Jethro. That's picture time for this week. God bless all of you. I'll see you next week.